Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an extremely important edition of Infowars Nightly News. It is Tuesday, December 6th, 2011. And this is going to be a huge show tonight with so many incredibly important topics covered. And normally I would mention some of what's coming up, but the news we've got tonight is so incredibly devastating to our republic and is breaking as we speak that I'm going to cover our top story obviously first here before getting into any of the other news. I'm holding here in my hand a document that just went up minutes ago at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, and we've called the numbers involved. We've checked the individuals listed in this document and the accompanying emails, and it is authentic. Kellogg, Brown & Root, a subsidiary of Halliburton. The story is at Infowars.com and is breaking at Infowars.com right now. The headline by Kurt Nimmo at Infowars.com is exclusive government activating FEMA camps across the United States. Now, in 2006, it was in the Houston Chronicle and Wall Street Journal that they got a $300+ million contract to build 3 1 million person camps for political dissidents, illegal immigrants, you name it, for economic collapse. They've introduced legislation to fund more of this and to bring it out in the open. The Emergency Centers Establishment Act last year that got so much attention that says that they will intern entire families in these facilities. It also came out earlier in the year that the Army and other private groups are trying to hire around 100,000 internment specialists. And when you read, it's domestic and international prison guards. And, of course, our so-called government has camps all over the world. Kellogg, Brown & Root has been caught with its main company, Halliburton, running slave labor camps in the Philippines and other areas. That's in the Chicago Tribune. You cannot make this magnitude of information up. It is the mainstream media's job and other people, Comedy Central and others that make fun of us, they did last night, to actually go research this. This is not a joke, and you'll be seen in history, whether we defeat this or it goes through, as sympathizers basically with the likes of Hitler, Stalin, and Mao. This is not a joke. This is not a game. And the detailed article that Kurt Nimmo and I put together today goes through all of this information. We were sent this by a state employee involved in the program. I'm just going to leave it at that. And it was basically a hidden link on the KBR site. We were able to confirm it is there on the KBR site in a non-published link. And that is in our article where we got the link from and everything else. Just unbelievable information here. And it says that they need people to set up barbed wire fences and barricades. And I've been to urban warfare drills across the country where the Marines and the Army practice taking on the American people and do set up the barricades in the towns and the cities and around the camps. Now, again, I want to explain. These camps are already built. They admit they're the old military bases. Now they are preparing in all 50 states to activate the camps with laundry, guards, people cooking the food, sentries. And we've got all the video and photos they've released on the Northcom website where the Army and Marines and Air Force security forces, you name it, are all training to arrest American citizens. And the training manuals that law enforcement have sent us that have been national news say it's returning veterans, gun owners, libertarians, Ron Paul supporters, Bob Barr supporters, anybody who basically understands what freedom is. This is like in a science fiction movie when the evil corporation takes over the government and orders the good guys arrested. I mean, but of course those movies are all based on real things that have happened in history. So truth is stranger than fiction. Fiction actually imitates life. The more I learned that I always thought that that life was imitating art. It's the other way around. Art is imitating life. And this is so incredible. This article goes over it all. And it should not be up to a small independent media operation to be breaking all of this. The mainline corporate prostitute should be doing it. But later we've got a sociologist joining us who's broken down the actuaries that actually when the mainstream media endorses something, people run from it like the plague. We've got new news on the Ron Paul front with a sociologist and statistician joining us in studio. Again, jam-packed transmission, but exclusive. Government activating FEMA camps across the U.S. They're already built. They now admit they're there. Now they're going out and saying in all 50 states, they're going to have 300-person staging camps, 1,000-person staging camps. And again, you can go to Infowars.com and get the full report with the documents, the emails, all of it. Exclusive. Government activating FEMA camps across the United States. Just a devastating investigative report up there right now. I don't even feel worthy to be bringing you this information. I hope it's not pearls before swine. We have the KBR instrumental in establishing the camps that are now to be activated in 2006. The internment camp service bid arrives after the National Defense Authorization Act. And we have links in here where the government says it's terrorism to protest. And those documents have been leaked by good people in the government. I mean, this is so creepy and it's so ridiculous. Obviously, protesting is not terrorism. Terrorists would say that. And of course, the state is always the greatest progenitor and deliverer and pusher of terror. As the founder said, it's the state you got to worry about. Little people can do horrible things, but not on a mass scale. Governments bring you the atrocities we saw, 200 plus million killed by governments in the 20th century. And there's the original Wall Street Journal, KBR awarded Homeland Security contract worth up to $385 million. That was in 2006 to build some of these large camps. Now this is an activation bid in all 50 states. And FEMA has 10 regions, but KBR, the corporations, they like to simplify things. They've broken it down into 5 regions. So I don't know what you say about this. All of this is vetted. All of this is researched. And I remember Glenn Beck 2 years ago saying, I'm going to expose the FEMA camps. They're real. And then after a month of hype, he comes out and says it's all a fraud and uses known, discredited hoaxes on the internet of railway stations and things when the civilian inmate labor camp program has been declassified, the military with private prisoners in them to prime the pump and train the troops to be jail guards, the emergency centers establishment garbage, Rex 84, the congressional hearings in 86. I sent all this to Glenn Beck, and I happen to know he got it. And I happened to predict, I waited till the day before so people understood that it wasn't me predicting it, and then he just decided to do what I'd predicted, that he would go show fake straw men. Okay? And he did just that. And I'm not here to attack Glenn Beck, okay? He's done some good work, and that's why he got too real and they got rid of him. The point is that we don't have time for people to be in denial anymore. We don't have time to play games. I've given you the legislation, which didn't pass, but is the entire blueprint for what's already built. Kind of like they've been spying on us for decades, and then when they got caught, they brought out legislation to legalize it. Or they get caught torturing, they then try to pass laws to make it legal. Okay, that's what's going on here. And it's pointed at the American people. I told you they'd have TSA on the streets running checkpoints. Now it's begun all over the country. I do my research. We do our research. And I'm getting chills right now from my family. I've decided to try to defend the Republic, and the globalists are in a lot of trouble. They've been exposed for their corruption, their drug dealing. It came out in the New York Times 2 days ago that the government is laundering drug money, the government itself, and not just running guns into Mexico. That's been in federal court for years. Again, these are criminals at the top, and it's time for people in the mid-level of government to say no to it. Nixon gave orders that were illegal at the end, and people said, you know what, I'm not following your order to fire people that are investigating you. Just because you're the president doesn't make you king. This isn't the Third Reich. And it comes down to fundamental things. And we've really headed them off at the pass here. We have, from the beginning, exposed these dastardly characters. And so they don't know how to deal with it. They were supposed to just build up this whole COG, continuity of government takeover system in the 80s with FEMA and then launch it by the 90s, but people exposed it, like Congressman from Texas, Jack Brooks, also Henry B. Gonzalez, congressman from San Antonio. It was Texans fighting it. It's like it's Texans fighting it today, and we have a clip of that. And this was all sent to Fox News and others who said they were going to expose it. Expose it. This is like seashells at the beach saying you can't find seashells. There's so much evidence here. It's like saying you can't find hair on a horse. I mean, there's so much evidence we can't even cover it all. Here's from my film out for over a year and a half, The Rise of FEMA, where we show the clip from Congress back in '86 with Jack Brooks, and then in the full film it goes to Henry B. Gonzalez exposing it. Here it is.
In the 1980s, the concentration camp program got a big boost.
Colonel North, in your work at the NSC, were you not assigned at one time to work on plans for the continuity of government in the event of a major disaster?
Mr. Chairman.
I believe that question touches upon a highly sensitive and classified area, so may I request that you not touch upon that, sir.
I was particularly concerned, Mr. Chairman, because I read in Miami papers and several others that there had been a plan developed by that same agency, a contingency plan in the event of emergency that would suspend the American Constitution. And I was deeply concerned about it and wondered if that was the area in which he had worked. I believe that it was.
May I most respectfully request that that matter not be touched upon at this stage. If we wish to get into this, I'm certain arrangements can be made for an executive session.
And tragically, the only member who got close was Jack Brooks, and he was stopped by the chairman. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, you do have those standby provisions, and the plans are there, and the statutory emergency plans are there, whereby you could, in the name of stopping terrorism, apprehend, invoke the military, and arrest Americans and hold them in detention camps.
Now, the issue is they've been sneaking around doing this for decades, since the mid-'80s. The issue is they've built these stinking things at old mothballed military bases, exactly as we said. That's in the Emergency Centers Establishment Act. It confirms everything we already knew from our reverse engineering of it. The thing is, they're now putting the bids out in all 50 states to activate the small sub-camps, 300-person to 1,000-person camps, where they then interrogate you and stuff from our research and send you off to the big camp. 3 million people. They've got a camp for 3 million people. 3 1-million-man camps that we know of they built in 2006. I showed you Wall Street Journal. I can show you Houston Chronicle. And I mentioned that, and the trolls and disinfo operatives run around and say we're making it up. So there's the information, ladies and gentlemen. I got to move quick now because we've got to continue with the other news. But this is so big. They're now activating the camps right as they pass the laws to use the military on us to secretly arrest us, and as they list protesters as terrorists. Right as all of this is going on, it is so incredibly creepy. And then they always claim it's popular. Oh, it's for illegals. Folks, they just deport illegals and a very small number in show events. This is about the American people. That's what this is about. And they're looking at old jails and other facilities all over the country. When I went to Hardin, Montana, I snuck in when the tour guide wasn't looking for like 40 seconds, jumped into the main office, ran up and shot video, and it said, you know, civilian internment and all the rest of it. And I shot video and put it in the police state film. I mean, literally, while she's answering a phone, hold on one moment, I'll answer the phone. I'm like, into the room, videotaping. I mean, and then popping back out. This is what we go through to bring you this information. And this criminal government is geared up to wage war against us. This is so incredible. I hope you get this information out to everybody. Again, the headline, exclusive, government activating FEMA camps across the U.S. They've denied they're there. Now they admit they're there. Now they're activating them. Do you understand the magnitude of this? They are now activating them.